So hello again, and here we are back at the installation section this time. So I'm going to do a bit of some thoughts on how we complete that. Again, we've got a mandatory section here. You can see the red flash. That means we absolutely have to complete this before we move forward. So I thought I'd sort of bounce down to this before we spoke about adding anything into the quote itself. And now, first thing to know is you will know by this stage what panels you have in mind. The sort of preferred panels of the moment are the DMEG 445s, if I've got that number right. So we know the system size is 250, so I'm going to divide 250,000. Obviously this would all be in the PV sold, but I'm going to divide the 250,000 divided by 445. Okay, and that comes up to about 562. So I know the number of panels here are going to be 562. Whatever is coming from your design, whether it's your estimation or whether it's from a pre-sales PV sol or a full final PV sol, doesn't matter. You would put that in. So I'm effectively guessing that in there that because it's 250,000, because we're using 445s, it's 562 panels, and that's a number to bear in mind because that will come in later. Okay, then in terms of the panels, okay, these should be maintained. I'm not entirely sure how that's done, but I'm presuming this is happening because as we maintain the product list, then we are going to maintain this list here. So they seem to be in order, but the ones we're interested in is the DMEG 445, so I'm going to stick those in there, and then also the inverter. Click the drop down here. Now, in fact, I can tell you for a fact there that unfortunately this is not being updated. So this is something that I'll need to look at, is how these are added to, because for example all the Huaweis we put on, those are not being added. So I'll need to find out how we add those and I'll get those added on. Now if it was one single inverter, then SolarEdge 100 kilowatts, that would make sense, wouldn't it? But we know it's a 250 kilowatt system, so it's very likely to be a 2.5 inverters, effectively 2 lots of 100 kilowatts and 1 lot of 50 kilowatt. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to choose the Solis 100 kilowatt. There we go. It's wrong because really the inverter should just have the brand name there, shouldn't it? It should just say Solis or Huawei or SolarEdge, because the actual size of the inverter doesn't mean anything for our purposes here, but I'm going to choose that one because that's all there, so we clearly need to look at that. But you should be able to use it at that stage. I'm then going to look at over here. So this is really important. This has been asked for, and yet it's already here. Okay, so that you are able to describe the system. You are able to kind of like to put comments in there and notes in there. Somebody said something earlier on, or yesterday I think it was, about how do we add the inverter, some sort of inverter mounting system. I wasn't entirely sure what that meant, but in here, if you were saying in inverter mounted on wall or inverter mounted on in cabinet or whatever, you're able to make that note. And if as a result of that you need to add products, then you add a product for that. So like, let's say we've all seen these on-roof external cabinets. They are, I think, built bespoke built items, but that's a product. So you would add that product in your quote later on. Now if it's not available, okay, because it's not there as a product, and you know what to do, don't you? You go and see Sam and you say, I need to use a product, it's not available there, can you make that change? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try and sort of carriage return at this point. Let's see if I can do that. I click enter and it lets me carriage return. Okay, so I can carriage return down to the next line. I can when it's added on the actual document itself, I can put in here a little bullet point if I want. So I can put a I don't know what symbol I would use, but whatever symbol I use, let's say I put a dash. Okay, I then go to the end of that. Okay, and the next thing is gonna have let's see, I don't know, non-slave made panels. I'm making this shit up, of course I am, but anyway, there we go, non-slave made panels, for example. So we know that the customers mentioned that to us. We're going to make that clear however we do it. So just bear that in mind, that is your section for adding stuff. I don't know how large it is. I don't know whether it's limited, unlimited, how many characters you have, but however you want to do that, that's how you would enter that free text. And I'm just going to add that in there and leave it there now, and we will come back to it. Inverted text, I couldn't tell you what that means. It's a read-only field, and I'm assuming that there is code behind that somewhere within the system that will become relevant under certain circumstances, but that's something I would need to check with Jess. So for now, it doesn't affect you. It's read-only anyway. You can't change it, so forget all about that. I'm assuming what it means is it picks up this Solis 100 kilowatt and turns it into something. Don't know what, but I'm sure that's the purpose. So again, this is how you complete that section. That's complete, and you can get ready to move on to the responsibility matrix next.